understanding of basic needs when it comes to college students on campuses, getting a better understanding of where students are with regards to food access, food insecurity, and other information. Part of that grant also included some work group meetings with college pantry managers, staff, volunteers, to get a better understanding of the landscape in terms of what services are currently being provided, where those gaps in services are, where are some opportunities for collaborations, and just what would be some good next steps in sort of improving the landscape of basic needs on campuses. So this is the first 2 meetings. I'm hoping to reach out for another meeting sometime in January to give the full results of the survey, and sort of get your guys' recommendations based on that information, based on your experience, on what are some ways to improve the basic needs landscape here in Utah for students. I'm going to share my screen real quick, and I've got some preliminary results for the basic needs survey that was sent out to students in the fall. Real quick, can you all see, it should say higher education food security survey. Perfect. All right, and thank you to our friends at Ogden Can and Weber State University for putting this all together. So here is basically the landscape in terms of a statewide food security needs for students. So 39% of students are experiencing are food insecure. 1 in 5 of them are very low food insecure, meaning maybe 1 meal a day, or days where they're skipping meals altogether in order to make sure that their budget lasts for that time period before they either get paid or what have you. One of the things that was notable so far to me is food insecurity rates for people with children versus without children are relatively the same based on these survey results. Notably, if you were to look at the general population, individuals with children tend to have higher food insecurity rates than those without. Something that does track with sort of statewide general data is food insecurity rates amongst Latinx households versus white households. In general surveys, food insecurity rates in comparison to white households and communities of color, those rates are typically double. So for example, during the pandemic, sorry, not double, significantly higher. During the pandemic, the peak of it in December of last year, 1 in 5 households, 20% of Utahns were food insecure. And with communities of color, that rate was almost 1 in 3 to 1 in 4 households. So this tracks with that. Go to the next slide here. Those coping with food insecurity and how are they getting their needs met. So over half the students reported having to skip a meal. About 15% of the food insecure students were visiting a food pantry of some kind, whether that be on campus or outside of that. Very few of the respondents reported in either accessing or enrolling in SNAP or WIC benefits. Again, there's been some changes with regards to the eligibility of SNAP that has expanded access to that program, and I'll be doing a presentation later today on that. But still, nonetheless, interesting information. Here's the survey breakdown by demographics. And then here is the survey breakdown by region and as well as, by county, and then by campuses. As you can see here, there's a fairly large response rate amongst the larger universities, and then the trend decreases there going on. So I don't have the full information here in terms of the background, so I won't be able to answer any specific questions, but if there are, happy to do so right now. Okay, Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. I'm hoping that you all had a chance to go and look at those questions that I submitted in advance of this meeting here today. I'd love to, I guess, start kicking off that conversation here. I going to go ahead and I guess instead of like going down a list here, I'll go and just like pick a name here and go from there. And I'd love to actually, Nelda, if you have a moment, would you be able to sort of give a rundown of some of the questions that we had asked in that survey and what your responses are as the person that manages the snack pantry?
Yeah, actually, Kara, are you prepared with those answers? Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Kara, but let me, I'll put the questions in the chat and in case so you don't have to dig around in your emails. But yeah, I'll let Kara answer for USU.
Great. Can you hear me?
I can.
Awesome. Okay, so I am Kara Bachman. My pronouns are she, her. I am the food security coordinator at Utah State University. To start off, so the first question is, who is included in your population you serve? I don't know what the breakdown is for our pantry, but I do know that we serve mostly students, but we also serve I do know a couple of staff that use our pantry, and we do have students with children who use our pantry. We are in the process of getting the patrons that use our pantry with children to go to the Cache Community Food Pantry, so a larger pantry off campus in Cache Valley that can offer them more items, larger quantity to fit their needs. Do you operate as a part of a larger basic needs program for the school? We do not, but we do refer a lot of our patrons to other resources on and off campus for whatever they need. Does your pantry provide client choice for food? We do. We have an online order form and we do in-person pantry days. So 2 days of the week, patrons can order online, similar to Walmart pickup. And then they select a date and time and they arrive at the pantry and find their bag with their student number on it. The other 2 days of the week, they can come in and fill a bag with the food that they'd like. Does your pantry have the resources and capacity to accommodate for allergies, dietary preferences, and needs and culturally appropriate foods? We do our best to do this. It is a little bit tricky with funding and we have lots of ideas, but a limited amount of funding to purchase these items. As of right now, we are buying alternative milk and spices, and then soon we'll be buying produce for this winter from grocery stores to supplement for the produce that we had received during the summer and fall. I already talked about the modes of service. 2 days we are pickup, order and pickup. The other 2 we call it in-person browsing, so kind of just like shopping. Number 6, do you provide information or assistance around federal nutrition assistance programs? We do. I help patrons that are interested in applying for SNAP. So I meet with them and we go over the application and then we submit it. Number 7, do you provide other types of assistance, rental, utility, non-food items? We offer some non-food items. We have in the past had deodorant, toothpaste, bar soap, and we usually have pads and tampons. And then do we refer clients to other resources on campus? We do. At Utah State, there's a student money management center that helps students look through their budget, their income and expenses, and identify ways that they could make more money or save more money to meet their goals. And then we refer students to insurance assistance and then SNAP application assistance. What services do you not currently provide but would like to? We would like to do a lot of things with this. And I think this is like, it's a really difficult question to ask because I don't know like what is realistic and like what fits into our like pantry, because we are such a small part of Utah State and there's so many other offices that do great work. I think we would like to connect our patrons to more services, and then also provide our patrons with more education surrounding food access, food insecurity, like budgeting, meal prep, just lots of things surrounding like living a healthy lifestyle. And then 11, what prevents you providing that additional service? Just like I said, the funding and the capacity that we have to do what we want to do at our pantry. I'm a full-time employee, and then we have 2 interns through AmeriCorps. They are the snack co-directors, and then we have 2 work study students. So altogether, we probably, me plus them, it's probably 2 full-time employees. That's like what the equivalent would be. And so I think if we had more, we would be able to provide additional services. But I think we're doing the best we can. So Nelda, was there anything else? Okay.
No, Kara, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I was hoping that I'd get a great first example, which is why I reached out to both of you first. So thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go next to Jordan. Jordan, are you from the University of Utah Pantry, if I remember correctly?
I'm from Weber State's Pantry.
Totally wrong on my answer. I apologize. If you could go quickly over the questions there. I'd love to hear what you guys are working on. And again, the sort of what's covered there.
Definitely. So for the first question, who's included in the population, we serve students, faculty, and staff of Weber State University, and their families as well, so they can come in and get that food. So for the second question, do you operate as a part of a larger basic needs program for the school? Right now, yes and no. We're working on creating a basic needs program where students can go and have all the basic needs that we have at Weber State University. So it's all in one place, and that's what we're working on for that. For the third question, does your pantry provide client choice for food? Yes, we do. Our pantry is a client choice shopping, so they are able to pick and choose what they need, but it is based off household size. So we do it like 1 to 2, 3 to 4, and depending on how much we have of the food, it varies from each item. For the fourth question, does your pantry have the resources and capacity to accommodate for allergies, dietary preferences, and needs and culturally appropriate foods? We are trying to be better with this to be able to help accommodate students with these types of things. We're still working on it, still trying to figure out what the best way to do that is. For the next question, what modes of service do you provide? Right now, we provide in-person every day of the week besides Saturday and Sunday, unless it is an emergency. And we are also working on, for our Davis campus, being able to do a drop-off. So we will have them do an online order. We'll make those orders, and then we'll be able to drop off. We're working on that for spring semester. For number 6, do you provide information or assistance around federal nutrition assistance programs? Yes, we do. I work with my Food Insecurity network as well, and we provide information on SNAP and all of those benefits to help students get the help they need. Do you provide other types of assistance? Yes, we do. We actually have a hygiene section in our pantry, as well as we have a kitchenware section in our pantry for students to come and get the kitchenware they need, because sometimes they can get the food, but they don't have a way to cook it. So we also, going along with the next question, we do refer clients to other resources. We have a money management center. We have a women's center and a whole bunch of different resources on campus. We have a whole like resource guide that we can give to students to be like, here, and show them all the different options we have on campus. To refer clients to other resources off campus, we have those in there as well. A lot of the times, if our clients, for us, if they need more food than we can give, then we refer them to Catholic Community Services, where they're able to really get set up with them and get more of the assistance they need. What services do you not currently provide but would like to? That is a great question. I'm always up for ideas and suggestions, because I'm just trying to improve the pantry right now. And one thing I think for us, our biggest goal is trying to get the word out, because a lot of students, faculty, and staff don't know we have a pantry. And so we're trying to spread that word. And then what prevents you from providing that additional service? Again, I always take suggestions. So.
No, and thank you so much. And Kara had a good question there, but when it comes to where are you getting your food from for your pantry? Is that I'm capturing that correctly there, Kara?
Yes,
Okay.
so we get our food from Catholic Community Services, as well as donations that come in. So
Awesome. No, and Jordan, thank you so much. And part of this meeting for me is not only to get this information, but also, as you mentioned earlier, to generate ideas, to get people to talk about, well, what are you doing at your pantry? Oh, that seems really interesting. You know, how did you get about to going there? What were the steps that you took? You know, sort of priming those connections across the state. I'm gonna pick on my good friend Mike here. Hey, Mike. I know that they did some wonderful stuff at Salt Lake Community College, and I'd love to hear your responses, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. So as always, we are in flux with the design and kind of structure of a lot of this programming. So I'll do my best to kind of give you an idea of where we're at right now and kind of where we're going in the next couple of months. But starting off with that first question, we support students, faculty, and staff. There are some programs that are kind of ancillary to the pantry efforts that are especially focused on students. But in terms of the actual pantry locations, they're open to all students, faculty, and staff. And we recognize that oftentimes those different categories are kind of sticky. Folks may move in and out of part-time roles. Folks may be, taking classes while they're in a staff or faculty role. And so we really try to make an effort to support the entire SLIC community. Do you operate as part of a larger basic needs program for the school? Number two, yes, this is ongoing in development. The role that I've inhabited for the last year and a couple of months, the basic needs coordinator role at Salt Lake Community College, is actually being split into two positions. So we identified that, it was really just unrealistic to have one coordinator who was both coordinating the network of multiple pantry locations and doing case management, referrals in the community, liaising with our community partners and those organizations and internal partners, and also managing a caseload. So We are splitting that role into a new basic needs coordinator that's going to be primarily focused on designing a case management system for everything from housing to food security to childcare and those other kind of external resources. And then I'm going to be continuing on as the brew and pantry coordinator, working with the student leaders who operate the multiple locations in our network, more of the kind of like back-end logistics, and working with our AmeriCorps Vistas with the brew and pantries. So really looking forward to that. We're going into hiring for our final round next week. So really excited to have more of an active case management presence with a kind of a designated basic needs coordinator who isn't quite as involved with the pantries. There are other department efforts, I think, as other folks have acknowledged. You know, we have the care team at Salt Lake Community College, which is kind of a cross-unit effort to work with students primarily through kind of like a My Success based data approach for flagging students. And so there also is like the Gender and Sexuality Student Resource Center, Center for Health and Counseling, Multicultural Student Success advocates. So, you know, it's kind of a broad spectrum, but I think that the new basic needs coordinator is going to be able to inform some of the outreach efforts and hopefully streamline a bit of that referral structure. In terms of number 3, does your pantry provide client choice for food? Yes, we returned to client choice this fall semester after operating with kind of a pre-boxed model with a bunch of a la carte options throughout the majority of the pandemic. So we're back to full client choice now. Number 4, does your pantry have the resources and capacity to accommodate for allergies, dietary preferences and needs, and culturally appropriate foods? I think as some of the other folks have mentioned, this is a priority, but it's not necessarily something that we're able to live up to all the time. Because we are, you know, open client choice with students, faculty, and staff. Some of those products are in especially high demand, and so we do make an effort to purchase things when we can, but the capacity to be able to purchase extra products is sometimes limited. And so I think the way that we've gotten around that is by offering gift cards for folks who are not able to find what they're looking for in the pantry. And those gift cards are provided by the institution through another program. When they're extra gift cards, they are sent to the pantry. And so we do our best to send out between $25 to $100 in gift cards to, I'd say it's usually around half a dozen to 20 students per month. But like I said, those gift cards are first come, first serve, and when they're out, they're out. And it does vary quite a bit from year to year in terms of what we receive. And so we see the gift cards as kind of an option to help folks supplement their grocery budget, but certainly, like, you know, 50 or $100 goes relatively quickly for folks. So we do need to identify other options to make sure that we are giving folks access to the kind of like culinary staples that we don't necessarily receive from the food bank and from other donors, which I think we're going to get into later today in some of the conversations. So number 5, modes of service. We are in person only, so we are not able to facilitate drop-offs or appointments, and we're generally open 2 to 3 days a week at each of the campuses where we have student leaders running the show. So at our Jordan campus, Redwood campus, and South City campuses, there are pantry distribution hours. It's usually a shift between like 4 to 6 hours on a given day. And so our network is across the board. It's open 5 days a week, but we are, you know, being Salt Lake Community College with 10 different campuses, we're, you know, kind of jumping around from location to location, and product availability obviously varies quite a bit from location to location, though we do our best to kind of redistribute product, especially the fresh product, as much as we can. between locations across the valley. We provide information or other assistance around the Federal Nutrition Assistance Program. Right now, this is primarily handouts, flyers, posters, signage, that other kind of like passive information, as well as the Bruin Pantry newsletter that we send out every couple of weeks. And I will generally refer folks either to Alex and his team over there at Utahns Against Hunger, in addition to Comunidades Unidas and PICTAR as potential navigators for folks who are kind of interested in the process with DWS, but are kind of intimidated by the system. So I'm really hoping that as this new basic needs coordinator comes on, they'll be able to provide more of that active navigation with folks. But as of right now, it's generally pretty passive with flyers and handouts and other kinds of informational materials. Next up, and I would say that's the same with like the emergency broadcast benefit or rent relief. All of that is generally kind of like passive outreach as opposed to active case management. But I think we're building to a place where we're going to be better suited to actually help folks navigate things in person. Next, number 7. Other types of assistance, rental, utility, non-food items. I think I answered most of this in the previous question. I mean, we do outreach around like emergency student funding that's available through the Dean of Students office. Here it's like her funding that is currently being distributed. But in terms of non-food items, we prioritize hygiene products. And when we have the budget or the donations available, over the course of the last couple of years, we've also been prioritizing diapers, baby wipes, those kinds of supplies, though there is a really high demand for them. So I'd say it's kind of intermittently available. But like some of the other folks have identified, we do prioritize menstrual hygiene products, oral hygiene, having, soaps and things like that. But again, it's widely variable throughout the year. I wouldn't say that we have the budget or the incoming donations to be able to offer all of those products 100% of the time. But it's kind of, feast or famine sometimes in terms of hygiene products, especially in those diapers and menstrual hygiene products. But menstrual hygiene products are probably the number one thing that we prioritize. And we have some good collaborations with the Center for Health and Counseling and our Gender and Sexuality Student Resource Center, which are also able to offer products and also just support around reproductive health and menstrual hygiene products. So we had a really productive outreach campaign last year around menstrual cups, and we also do some outreach around wellness, safety, and support resources, which is kind of like in line with the connecting folks to resources for folks who are survivors of sexual assault or domestic violence, low cost access to reproductive health care, things like that. But again, it's often pretty passive compared to where we're trying to go with more active case management and active individualized support. Number 8, refer clients to other resources on campus. Again, I think I kind of answered this maybe in my previous question, but we don't currently have in-person case management or that kind of like personalized approach, but we are referring folks incidentally to Center for Health and Counseling, to the Gender and Sexuality Student Resource Center, our Office of Diversity and Multicultural Affairs, and some of our other on-campus collaborators. Referring to clients to other resources off campus. Yeah, we have kind of a wide range. I mean, we're trying to inform folks about how to use 211 and findhelp.org, which is a product through Aunt Bertha. Kind of as just general resource databases, but we'll also connect folks to Utah Community Action, to the various services through Volunteers of America for unsheltered folks. We connect folks to Utahns Against Hunger. There's rent relief, the emergency broadband benefit for wireless internet, things like that. And again, it's mostly like flyers, handouts, posters, and sending people emails, connections like that. Services we do not currently provide, but would like to. I'm going to try not to use any more time here because I think it really just echoes what other folks have said. I think developing a more robust, like on-campus food recovery system is in line with a lot of our sustainability goals, but it's been tough to have the labor and the staffing to be able to kind of capture some of that food waste on campus. SNAP navigation workshops and individualized support for folks who are trying to sign up for that program, especially, but also like WIC navigation. And in the long term, I'd really love to be able to do more food literacy based education. But obviously we're kind of balancing the convenience versus cooking side of things. So hopefully we can get to that in a later session. What prevents us from providing that additional service? I'd say the bulk of it is staffing and just institutional capacity. I think we're ramping up in the Thane Center and some of our peer departments here at Salt Lake Community College, but really it just comes down to the number of paid staff and paid student leader positions that we have and kind of the infrastructure to be able to support a broader range of programming, outreach, interventions, those kinds of things. But yeah, I'd say primarily staff and also just physical capacity. It's hard to do like a cooking demo if you don't have a demonstration kitchen that's, on your main campus. So those kinds of logistical issues are also kind of baked in. But yeah, I will not take up any more time. I know we have some other campuses to get to. Oh, and the majority of our food comes from the Utah Food Bank. We also partner with Bountiful Food Pantry, and we do accept direct donations. And then we also have some grant funding and private donor funding to be able to purchase supplementary items or like operational supplies. But I'd say the majority of it is the Utah Food Bank, both through warehouse deliveries that we get directly from them at multiple campuses and grocery rescue, which is a really great program that enables us to get more of that fresh product, frozen meat, bakery items, produce, that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mike. And I'm probably going to end up going and turning these into a survey because we're not going to be able to get to everybody today. But I again, want to thank everybody because this is not only a great sort of like way for us to get feedback, but also a great way to sort of like hear what other people are doing and get some ideas. Chelsea, by chance, would you be able to answer the questions, I guess, or give your responses?
Yeah, so I'm with Davis Technical College. We actually have not started our pantry yet, so we're on here preparing to do so. We are going through a remodel right now. So our whole student services area is moving to a different part of the building. So what is now our Veteran Center will be moving, and our Veteran Center will become a student resource center. So we want to have many different resources. So I'll just kind of answer a couple of questions that fit with maybe what we've thought about so far, but we don't have any experience quite yet. As of now, we're planning on starting to serve students, probably faculty and staff if we needed to. I think that would be included. We are going to be operating as part of the larger student resource center. So we're starting out where we can. We're hoping to grow it larger, but we basically want it to be a place for connection, for basic needs to be met. So it'll kind of be encompassed in that area. We will also have interns from Weber State University that will be working with us, and they can do some basic counseling and refer to mental health services. So we're going to have a couple of things provided there. As for choice, I'm not sure yet. We do work with the Bountiful Pantry. So that's kind of answering question 12 now, but I'm assuming we'll get some of our stuff from there. Our foundation is helping with this project, which is where I work. And so we may have some money from there that we'll be able to use to purchase food. So hopefully we'll be able to have a little bit of choice in that. What we've thought about so far for question 5 is probably just in person. Since we're a tech school, most of our students are on campus for their classes anyway. So we're going to have designated hours, and then kind of like somebody else mentioned, some emergency hours. So maybe if a staff member is on campus, but the pantry's not open, but somebody needed something, they could contact myself or one of the other members, and we could still use our key and make sure we could get them what they needed. So we're going to do in person for now. Let's see, number 6, we are going to provide information about SNAP and other nutrition programs. We're going to do a lot of referrals because we're kind of smaller, so we're going to refer a lot. 7, we are hoping to also provide some hygiene kits and hygiene items. We are starting, it's called Just Serve. It's this website where you can post like a service project. And one of our foundation board members helped us know kind of how to do this. So we've posted on there our goal, and we're hoping that people, if they want to do a service project in the community, may want to donate and create these hygiene kits. So we're hoping to keep those in our pantry. Number 8, we will refer our clients to the resources we have on campus. We are smaller than universities, so we won't have quite as many. So 9, off campus, we really will do a lot of referring to that. One of my main parts of opening this is staying up to date about all of the resources that we have available in our area, so that we can make sure that we're giving them current information, current places, adding to it. So referral will be huge for us. 10, I can't really answer because we haven't started yet. So anyway, we're hoping to start everything in January and just start where we can and grow it from there.
That's incredible, Chelsea. And you're fortunate to have such a great collection of like brilliant minds when it comes to food pantries and food pantry operation. If you want, go ahead and put your email in the chat or what have you, and connect with some of these great individuals that do incredible work. Sarah, would you by chance be able to give some details on your guys' operation?
Sure. I'm Sarah Elizabeth. I use she,
yeah.
they pronouns. I put the link for our University of Utah Basic Needs Collective in the chat, so you can have that as a reference. Amazing work. Really great to hear about what's starting and what's been going on, and the tremendous work that's been going on in this area. So similarly to some of the other programs that are going on at like Weber State and at Salt Lake Community College, I'm just gonna see if I can share my screen here. Maybe I can. Oh, look at that. All right. So on screen, I'm with the University of Utah, and we have a basic needs collective. It was formed out of the Homeless College Student Task Force. And somewhere along the line, we started talking about how do we move from more of a crisis management model to looking at basic needs and securities from a prevention perspective, always keeping that immediate need and urgent need in mind. But how can we start to look at basic needs and security from a retention perspective? Are we losing students or to drop out due to basic needs and securities? And what can we do to prevent that? So this group is interdisciplinary and community. We have members from 211, from United Way, serving on our collective, as well as from across the health campus, which is where my role is, and then from our main campus, the University of Utah. It's a very large institution. We're geographically spread out, so we have a lot of different ambassadors and advocates in different areas on campus coming together to address basic needs and securities. So first I brought in, because I'm like representing a collective, so I sent it out to partners and was like, can you send me some information that I could share today? And I don't want to take too much time because there is a lot of great work that's going on across campuses. So similarly with what's going on at Salt Lake Community College, we're moving to a case management model. We're actually finishing the build out on our basic needs center that will be opening in January of 2022. It was planned to open in 2020, and the pandemic delayed our efforts, but I'm excited to share that we will be opening the center in the student union on campus in the University of Utah in like a month, it's going to happen. So you can come, you reach out to me and like, you can come and you can check it out. And it's right next to our YouTube pantry. It's been so cool. And so many people have put so much energy and effort. Like I can't express how much like the basic needs and security is just, it's work of the heart. It's people really wanting to support students, support their retention, support their academic success, support their dreams in attaining a higher education. And so everybody comes to the table and shares super generously. I would take so much time talking about all the terrific efforts going on, but just a few highlights. We have several pantries on our campus, one in the health campus. That's the pantry that I run. It serves our faculty, staff, students, and our hospital-based healthcare workforce, which has been a precedent philosophy during the pandemic. We were able to keep it open during the shutdown as an essential service. And as so many have been experiencing financial hardship over time, it's been super difficult. That pantry is come and take what you need, and it's self-service, and it's been a terrific success that way. We stock it regularly. I have a pantry coordinator or work study student that's dedicated to helping to coordinate those efforts with volunteers. And we offer a variety of items based on donations, similarly like from the Utah Food Bank and from community donations and campus donations. We also have our main food pantry that's located in the Union, right next to the Basic Needs Center. And that is the first pantry that we had on our campus that was founded by a student. And that's been kind of offshooting all these other areas on campus. Like in the health campus, we have one in our university student apartments, a smaller pantry. We have a smaller taken what you need in the law school, and one in the business school. Also in the U Health system, we have not only the pantry that I run that's on campus, but we have one in Redwood Clinic that serves staff and one in Southmate Clinic that serves patients. And I added that we're stocked by the Utah Food Bank campus and community partners. Just to kind of go down a little bit, because I know we're running short on time, but we are during the pandemic, during like the most rigorous shutdown, we were more of a order and take system. And now we've gone back to kind of coming in and more of that food choice model. I will say we do have difficulty obtaining allergen specific foods and diet specific foods like low sodium foods. That's something that we would love to do more, similarly with what Mike shared, that those are harder items to procure from a donation perspective, and we do our best to stock those items, and we definitely try to get the word out when we do have them, but that's something that we struggle with. The highest demand items are certainly hygiene and infant care items. Those are not items that we typically get from the Utah Food Bank. So whenever we do donation drives, we try to focus on those items so that we can stock them, as they're just expensive items and that they go fast as soon as we stock them. Toothbrushes, toothpaste, all kinds of products, they go really fast. And especially now, like I said, with people experiencing greater financial hardship over time, it's been very difficult. In our Basic Needs Center, we do offer support services. So I'll just share our website here just really quick. So we have virtual office hours that are hosted through Campus Connect or ConnectSted, and we have staff members that host those virtual office hours. We have an assessment through Qualtrics that we administer, and we provide campus and community resources. Like I said, we partner with 211. We also have our internal curated lists as well that we draw from. You can just send an email if that's kind of like if you want to talk to someone, but if you want more of a less contact service, you can send an email, and that's a Qualtrics form, and they can fill out a survey and receive an email back with campus and community resources, recognizing that not all our students are on campus. And then we also utilize the Mobile U app for students, and we have a Basic Needs Center tile on that app where they can again fill out that same survey and get an email back or log into virtual office hours. We highlight community services. We recognize basic needs insecurities are not just the financial, food, and housing security among our undergraduate and graduate students, as well as staff and faculty. There's other things like access to healthcare, childcare resources, and so we offer support. So it's self-service. Students can go, and anyone on campus, anyone in our campus community, students, faculty, and staff can go in and find resources. So that's a little bit of an overview. I did want to highlight one program just in closing, because I know we've got other people to get to, but one thing Do you see a guy by a refrigerator on screen? Do you see, am I sharing the right
Ew.
one? Okay, okay. Oh no, I clicked away. What is going on? Oh, my computer froze. But anyway, okay, so that, let me stop share. Oh, reshare again. So I'm so excited. This is Rodney Evans. He's in our University Hospital Nutrition Care Services. He's our inventory regulation specialist. When I founded the food pantry in the health campus, we started a food recovery project with them. And so the edible food waste in the university health system, in the hospital on campus, and in the other areas on campus in the hospital system, Rodney curates that food and redistributes it through the pantry. So since founding this project in March of 2020, we have recovered and redistributed over 10,000 pounds of food. So like a ton of food has been reclaimed from the landfill and moved through our pantry. And it's just been a tremendous success for us. And we're just so proud to have this project. And I've heard such great feedback from the people using the pantry, that it's just, especially our overburdened hospital-based healthcare workers right now, that just really cultivating that culture of care on our campus and recognizing that these are difficult times and that we will do what we can do to support. So with that, I'll stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Sarah Elizabeth. Let's see here. We just got to time for the session. I want to be able to assure people that get a break between this and the next one. My next steps, I'm going to take these questions. I'm going to put them into a survey. I was hoping to get to more of your guys' answers and input, but I'll put this into a survey, and I'll make sure that that Nelda and I get this out to you. I will also be following up with you to schedule a meeting in January where we'll be able to go over the full results of the basic needs student survey, as well as I'll take your guys' responses, the conversation we had here, and sort of highlight some of the trends that we're seeing based on those responses, and any sort of like identifiable trends when it comes to gaps in services and others. But I want to thank you all so much for your time this morning, and thank you all for coming to the summit. My email address is cragun@uah.org. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, or if you want to learn more about better nutrition programs, be sure to attend my presentation in about 10 minutes. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for your time.
Great. Thank you so much, Alex. And thank you everybody for your participation. We will see you in a couple of other sessions, hopefully, for the rest of the day. So see you. Thank you.
Thank you.